All right, what is up, everybody? We are officially live here on Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt. Lots to go over today. It's going to be a bit of a long show because not only do I have to go over my March Madness picks, my bracket, I also have to go over some NFL free agency because my phone has just been buzzing off the hook with different free agents going to different spots. So I'll cover a little bit of that as well. But my bracket is going to take a little bit because, as you know, there's so many teams in the bracket, 64 teams in total that start moving down to one final national championship winner. Before I do go over my bracket, I do want to talk about a couple things, though. First of all, please go ahead and check out Crunch Time Sports Show hosted by John Mark Stivers, as well as Fuel to the Fire, hosted by Landon Hammonds. He has Michael Consaccio, John Mark, and I am also on that show. We do a lot of fun stuff. We talk about sports each week. And, of course, we are doing an NCAA bracket challenge between us. And I really just urge you guys to go and check out that show. I will not be doing a play-by-play on my YouTube this weekend because I'm taking a trip this weekend. So I will not be in town and I will not be able to do a play-by-play. Now, before I do give my official bracket this year for the NCAA tournament, I want to advertise something. It's going to be done by the end of tonight. Tonight is the deadline for when you need to get this stuff in. I am offering right here on Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt a bracket challenge, meaning that I put a video out on all of my social medias. All of my social medias. You can direct message me there. Once you go to the ESPN Tournament Challenge app, create a bracket. You can direct message me and tell me that you created a bracket, and I will play your bracket one-on-one. We'll go head-to-head. We'll see if you can beat my official bracket this year for the NCAA tournament, and I'm excited to see what people come up with these brackets. Hopefully, some people go ahead and create a bracket and go up against me and go up against my bracket. So I'm offering that through the end of tonight. Midnight tonight is the deadline to play me one-on-one ESPN Tournament Challenge bracket. If you DM me on my social medias, I will create a group, and you and I can go head-to-head. So hopefully we get a lot of people that want to play against my bracket, and we'll see. But again, midnight tonight is the deadline. So now that I got all that intro stuff out of the way, I'm going to go right in to my NCAA tournament bracket, starting with the round of 64 for my predictions. This is going to take a little bit. Yesterday, I did my official bracket predictions on Fuel to the Fire. It took me about 20 minutes to get through my bracket, so it is going to take a bit, but I do want to give you each of my picks by round. So starting with the round of 64, we have Gonzaga playing either Norfolk State or Appalachian State. I hope that's how I pronounce that. I have Gonzaga winning this game. Gonzaga's a 1 seed over a 16 seed. That should be really easy. We can move on to the next game. Oklahoma and Missouri. That's an 8 seed versus a 9 seed. Oklahoma being the 8 seed, Missouri being the 9 seed. This is going to be a tough game. Anytime you get a 9 versus an 8 seed, it's a tough game to pick. I took Oklahoma in this game. I think Oklahoma's the better team. They're more well-rounded than Missouri, and they have experience. A lot of my picks came down to experience as well as other different stats, but experience was the main one that I went by when looking at an 8 versus a 9, a 2 versus a 1, stuff like that. So I have Oklahoma beating 9 seed Missouri, moving on to the round of 32 to face Gonzaga. Then we have Creighton and UCSB. I think Creighton's just going to roll through this game because Creighton, they're a 5 seed, but they could very well be lower because Creighton is a very, very good team. Oh, look at this already. Landon Hammonds in the chat says he'll get my outfit ready for Fuel to the Fire. Landon, I don't know about that because I want to tell you guys something. Landon Hammonds has Alabama and Baylor going to the national championship. Baylor, I can see. That was a good pick. Baylor, I can see. But Alabama in the national championship? Landon, man. I don't think I'm the one that needs to be getting my outrageous outfit ready for when for the Fuel to the Fire bracket challenge because I'm going to win that bracket challenge, believe me. But again, Creighton's a great team. They're going to roll through UCSB. And they should win that game. Creighton's a great team. And they should win that game over the 12 seed UCSB. Moving on, we have Virginia and Ohio. Now, a lot of people, and I don't understand this. This I don't understand at all. A lot of people say that this could be an upset and Ohio could win this game. I said this yesterday on Fuel to the Fire. Virginia has the best defense out of any college basketball team this year. Any college basketball team. Virginia has the best defense. So they are going to win this game easily, I think, over Ohio. I don't know where it got started that some people have Ohio as an upset over Virginia. Jay Billis has Ohio going to his Sweet 16, which I don't understand at all. And I like Jay Billis, but that was a terrible pick in my opinion. Virginia's going to beat Ohio in the first round. USC facing either Wichita State or Drake. USC should win this game. There's no question about it. USC is a great team. Kansas and Eastern Washington. I took Kansas. There should be no surprise there. Kansas is a 3 seed over the 14 seed Eastern Washington. Oregon and VCU. I took Oregon in this game. They again, experience, stats. I look at that all day long when I pick a March Madness bracket. People tell me that I look at stats too much. Well, we'll see, because hopefully this bracket does well. Oregon over VCU, the 7 seed over the 10 seed. Iowa and Grand Canyon. There should be no question here that Iowa should beat Grand Canyon. They're one of the best teams in the NCAA tournament this year. Moving on to the East, we have Michigan facing 16 seed. I don't even know what those abbreviations are. I think that's Texas Southern, and I don't know what MSM is. But Michigan is going to win that game of the 16 seed. Michigan's a great team. Even without Isaiah Livers, they're going to win that game. LSU and St. Bonaventure, 8 versus a 9 seed. Again, I took LSU. That should be an easy win for LSU over St. Bonaventure. Colorado and Georgetown. This was my first upset in the round of 64. Georgetown being a 12 seed, Colorado being a 5 seed. I took Georgetown to win this game. They won the Big East, and they are just rolling right now. So Patrick Ewing is a great coach for Georgetown. He owns the city of New York, in my opinion. He is an icon in the city of New York, and Georgetown's going to get the win over Colorado, the 12 seed over the 5 seed. Florida State and UNC Greensboro. I took Florida State. There should be no explanation there. BYU and versus the 11 seed, either Michigan State University or UCLA. I took BYU in this game. A lot of people have Michigan State or UCLA favored at the 11 spot, but that's a play-in game too. But I think BYU is the better team over each of those teams, even though you can talk about experience. You can talk about whatever you want with UCLA and Michigan State. They didn't have good years, and I think BYU should win this game. Texas and Apple Christian. I took Texas at the 3 spot. There should be no explanation there. Texas is the better team, and some people have them going very far in this tournament. UConn and Maryland. A lot of people took Maryland in this game. I took the 7 seed UConn. I think UConn is a better all-around team, and they should beat Maryland in a close game. This is one of those that I fear that I might get wrong in the round of 64. And then Landon Hammonds, his Alabama Crimson Tide, are going to beat 15 seed Iona. That should be an easy win for Alabama to move to the round of 32. Moving on to the South, we have Baylor over 16 seed Hartford. There should be no explanation there. North Carolina and Wisconsin. This is a game I have pegged to watch in the round of 64. This is going to be a fun game to watch. 2 teams. This could go either way. This is a pick'em game. And I took Wisconsin, the 9 seed, over the North Carolina Tar Heels at the 8 seed. Just looking at the stats, Wisconsin is better defensively, and they score more points per game. So, and I think that Wisconsin is just a better all-around team. So I took Wisconsin over the 8 seed North Carolina in this game. Villanova and Winthrop. This is another 12 versus 5 game that a lot of people have Winthrop winning. I give Villanova 1 game, and I think they're going to get past the first round and beat Winthrop. I think that's all they'll get past, though, and they're going to move to the round of 32. Excuse me. Purdue and North Texas. Number 4 seed Purdue is going to beat North Texas. There should be no surprise there. They should beat North Texas. Look at this in the chat. John Mark Stivers says, "Go Oklahoma. They ain't making it far, but Boomer Sooners for life." So John Mark Stivers is an Oklahoma fan, apparently. I know he likes Kentucky too, but John Mark, you rooting for Oklahoma this round? I think John Mark Stivers is rooting for Oklahoma. I don't know. Oklahoma, I have them going to the round of 32. We'll see how far they make it. Texas Tech over Utah State. This is going to be a close game, but I think Texas Tech is going to win this game. Arkansas and Colgate, I took Arkansas. There should be no surprise there. That's a 3 seed over a 14 seed. Florida and Virginia Tech, I took Virginia Tech over Florida. That's another upset game. 10 seed over the 7 seed. I think Virginia Tech just has a better all-around team. Ohio State and Oral Roberts, I took Ohio State. There should be no surprise there. John Mark Stivers says they're going to lose to Gonzaga in the round of 32. Yeah, I think so too. Moving on to the Midwest, Illinois over Drexel, 1 seed over 16 seed. Now, I think that Illinois is they're the weakest 1 seed in this tournament. And that's a hot take. But I said that yesterday on Fuel to the Fire, and I firmly believe that Illinois is the weakest 1 seed out of all the 1 seeds in this tournament. But I think they're going to move to the round of 32 and beat number 16 seed Drexel. Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech. I took Georgia Tech, the 9 seed, over the 8 seed Loyola Chicago. I think Georgia Tech is a bit more experienced than Loyola Chicago, and Loyola Chicago will not get through the round of 64. Tennessee and Oregon State. I took Tennessee, the 5 seed, over the 12 seed Oregon State. Oklahoma State versus Liberty. That Cade Cunningham for Oklahoma State should get them to the next round to beat Liberty. Oklahoma State over the 13 seed Liberty. San Diego State and Syracuse. I took San Diego State. West Virginia over Morehead State. Rutgers over Clemson. And I took Houston over Cleveland State. And Rutgers was that upset there too over Clemson. I think Rutgers is a better all-around team as well than Clemson. Moving on to the round of 32, back up to the top of the bracket. John Mark was just talking about it in chat. Gonzaga and Oklahoma, 1 seed versus 8 seed. I have Gonzaga beating Oklahoma. That should be fairly self-explanatory. Gonzaga, in my opinion, is the best team headed into this NCAA tournament. Creighton and Virginia. I have Virginia beating Creighton in a very close game because Creighton has proved themselves this year. But Virginia, again, best defense in the NCAA right now. So Virginia is going to beat Creighton. That's a 4 seed beating a 5 seed. USC and Kansas. This is going to be a tough game for Kansas to win, but I think they're going to get the job done. Kansas over USC, 3 seed over 6 seed. Oregon and Iowa. I have Iowa moving on past Oregon. Again, Luke Garza for Iowa. A lot of people don't agree with me on this one, but Luke Garza is going to be a top 5 pick in the draft, in my opinion. He is a great player, and I would love to see him with my Boston Celtics. That would be great. Let's see. John Mark says, don't sleep on Loyola. No one expected it in 2018, and they surprised everyone to be in the Elite Eight. I mean, that's 3 years ago, John Mark. I mean, Loyola is not the team that they used to be. Loyola surprised everybody in the Elite Eight. You're right, 3 years ago, but I don't think they're going to do it this year. Moving on to the East, Michigan. I have them beating LSU in a very close game, especially if Michigan doesn't have Isaiah Livers. LSU might be their toughest game in this tournament. Michigan over 8 seed LSU. Georgetown and Florida State. I took Florida State over Georgetown. I think Georgetown's run ends at the round of 32. BYU and Texas. I have number 3 seed Texas beating number 6 seed BYU. UConn and Alabama. I have Alabama beating UConn. Alabama is the better team by far than over UConn. In the South, Baylor over Wisconsin, Purdue over Villanova because Villanova regressed heavily. They ended the season not so great, and I think Purdue's going to get the win over Villanova. Texas Tech and Arkansas, 6 seed versus 3 seed. I have the 3 seed Arkansas beating the 6 seed Texas Tech. Texas Tech's run ends in the round of 32. Virginia Tech and Ohio State. I have Ohio State winning this game. Virginia Tech's a 10 seed, and Ohio State's just a better team at the 2 spot. In the Midwest, Illinois over Georgia Tech. That should be fairly self-explanatory. Oklahoma State over Tennessee. Cade Cunningham can do it all. West Virginia over San Diego State, and I have Houston over Rutgers. John Mark says that Georgetown and Florida State was a hard one for him to pick. That's so tough, though, John Mark, because how far are you willing to push Georgetown? That was my question going into the round of 32 was how far am I willing to push Georgetown? They're on a roll right now, but I don't think they're going to beat a team like Florida State. Sweet 16 now. Gonzaga and Virginia. If there is a team in this tournament that can beat Gonzaga, it's Virginia. It is Virginia. They are the team that can beat Gonzaga in this tournament. However, I have Gonzaga winning this in a very, very close game because, as I said before, Virginia has the best defense out of any college team this year. Kansas and Iowa. I have Iowa beating Kansas. Kansas's run ends at the Sweet 16, and Iowa, in my opinion, is a better team. Luke Garza is amazing, in my opinion. And I have Iowa beating Kansas to move on to the Elite Eight. Lex in the chat, what's up to you? Moving on to the East. Oklahoma State's in, John Mark. Yeah, Oklahoma State's in. I don't know, but I mean they're in the tournament for me. In the bracket that I did. So moving on to the East, I have Michigan over Florida State. That should be fairly self-explanatory. Again, even without Isaiah Livers, I think Michigan's going to be fine beating Florida State. Texas and Alabama. This is going to be Alabama's toughest test in the tournament. I have Alabama beating Texas. Moving on to the Elite Eight. In the South, Baylor over Purdue. I have Ohio State over Arkansas. And I have that's for the South, yes. And then in the Midwest, I have Illinois over Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham. And I have West Virginia over Houston. That's a bit of an upset. People have Houston going far. Originally, I had Houston going to the Final Four. Not anymore. I think West Virginia is going to go to the Elite Eight. Moving on to the Elite Eight. In the West, I have Gonzaga and Iowa. No, John Mark, they didn't get a postseason ban. They're in the tournament this year. Gonzaga and Iowa in the Elite Eight. I have Gonzaga winning this game. I think Iowa's season ends with the Elite Eight. As much as I like Luke Garza, Gonzaga is going to beat Iowa in the Elite Eight and move on to the Final Four. Michigan and Alabama. Michigan. It is worth noting that Michigan does not have Isaiah Livers at the moment. Their best player, one of the best players in the country. That's what's going to come back to hurt Michigan, and that's why they're going to lose to Alabama, and Alabama is going to go to the Final Four this year for the first time in I don't even know how long in Alabama's school history. Baylor and Ohio State in the Elite Eight. I have Baylor beating Ohio State in a close matchup again. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Baylor and Ohio State in the Elite Eight. In the Midwest, we have Illinois and West Virginia. I have Illinois beating West Virginia. Moving on to the Final Four, I have a 1 seed versus a 2 seed and a 1 seed versus a 1 seed. This is one of the first times I ever had 3 1 seeds in my Final Four. But here we go. Predicting the championship game. Gonzaga and Alabama. Gonzaga is going to win this game. Alabama is not experienced enough to beat a team like Gonzaga, and Gonzaga will win this game and move to the national championship. Baylor and Illinois. As I said before, Illinois is one of the weakest 1 seeds in this tournament. They are the weakest 1 seed in this tournament, in my opinion, which is why I have Baylor moving on to the national championship. Gonzaga and Baylor in the national championship, and I put some point totals on this one. The national championship, Gonzaga and Baylor. I have Gonzaga 86, Baylor 80. So, Gonzaga is my pick to win this year's NCAA tournament. That is my official March Madness bracket. Now, again, for everybody watching here, if you didn't already see it on my social media, go ahead and download the ESPN tournament app, the ESPN Tournament Challenge app. And then what you're going to want to do is direct message me if you want to play head-to-head against my bracket. What they're going to have you do when you go into that ESPN Tournament Challenge app is create a bracket. So you're just going to go through and select the teams that you think you're going to win. And then you're going to submit your picks, and then you'll be able to direct message me and tell me, hey, let's play head-to-head, and I will set up a group, and you and I will play head-to-head for this year's March Madness NCAA tournament. So if you want to get in on those sweepstakes, again, that ends tonight. I need to know who would like to play against my bracket by tonight at midnight so I can set up the groups. Again, the tournament does start tomorrow. So I will not be accepting any brackets after midnight tonight. So, I mean, even if you just want to do it for fun, I would love to play head to head with some people, and it would be a really good I think it would be advertising well for my show. So, go ahead and download the Tournament Challenge app and play me head-to-head on the tournament. John Mark in the chat. Yeah, I know, John Mark, but you're already in the Fuel to the Fire one. You know what, John Mark? I want to know what crazy outfit you're going to be wearing when your bracket loses to mine. Michael, John Mark, and Landon, you guys better go and get your crazy outfits ready for Fuel to the Fire, because I think I have a pretty darn good bracket here. And again, guys, please message me on my social medias once you completed your bracket, and we can play head to head. Now, moving on to the NFL's free agency. I have about 10 minutes. Normally I try to run these about a half hour. So, NFL's free agency. My phone has been buzzing off the hook. You know where I want to start with this NFL free agency topic? Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, Chicago has its quarterback that they've been looking for. They got a quarterback in free agency, and it's Andy Dalton. You heard me correctly. Chicago got a quarterback in free agency like we all knew they would, and their quarterback of the future, the one that they put their money into, the one that they invested in, is Andy Dalton. Because apparently the Seahawks are not looking to trade Russell Wilson at this time. If I'm the Bears, that's fine. I'm waiting to see if Deshaun Watson will sign. Just Deshaun Watson isn't going to sign with the Bears now. The Bears have their quarterback, and it's going to be Andy Dalton. And the Bears are going to finish at that third spot in the NFC North because the Vikings aren't good. The Vikings are going to finish in that last spot. And that's coming from a Vikings fan. You see the banner behind me. It's going to be a fight for third place between the Vikings and the Bears because the Lions are going to be the second spot and the Packers are going to win that division. But why in the world, if you are the Chicago Bears, do you take Andy Dalton as your quarterback? That makes absolutely no sense to me. I cannot fathom a reason for the Chicago Bears to take Andy Dalton in this tournament. I can't do it. I don't know. I'm sorry, not in this tournament. I was thinking about the NCAA tournament. In free agency. I don't know what was going through the head of the Bears GM. It's a 1-year, $10 million deal. I get it, okay? They're not looking to trade Russell Wilson. You know who's going to be a free agent soon because they could cut him? Is Deshaun Watson. And when they do cut him because Deshaun Watson's going to sit, the Bears would have been a prime spot. But the Bears went out and they took Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's washed, okay? I would have taken Andy Dalton like 5 years ago. Cincinnati Bengals Andy Dalton 5 years ago. I would have taken him. Because Andy Dalton was a decent quarterback then. Andy Dalton is not good anymore. I don't understand Chicago's reasoning behind taking Andy Dalton. Some other notable mentions in our free agency. Ryan Fitzpatrick signs a deal with the Washington football team, making it his 9th destination to play quarterback. Emmanuel Sanders signs with the Bills. That's a big pickup for the Bills, and they're continuing to be a contender in the AFC. And then we also have the New England Patriots, and this is my last topic for today. The New England Patriots have made 7 signings in the last 3 days. We have Matthew Judon, linebacker, for a 4-year, $56 million deal. Tight end, Jonnu Smith, 4 years, $50 million. Defensive back, Jalen Mills, 4-year, $24 million. Wide receiver, Nelson Aguilar, 2 years, $26 million. Wide receiver, Kendrick Bourne, 3 years, $22.5 million. Defensive tackle, Devon Godshaw, hopefully I pronounced that right, signed a 2-year, $16 million deal. And tight end Hunter Henry, 3-year, $37.5 million deal. It's amazing. 7 players. I think New England's a playoff team, quite possibly. They're in a tough division, though. They got to get past Miami. And I think Miami's going to improve. They can be a playoff team. They're not going to win that division. The Bills own that division. But I think the Patriots can be a playoff team. I think they can beat Miami out and possibly have a wild card spot. So the Patriots might be back. You never know. I like the signings. I like the tight end, the tight end tandem that they got, and I think that should prove good. They picked up 2 wide receivers, so yeah, you have weapons for Cam Newton to throw to. I just don't trust Cam Newton, to be honest with you. I don't trust Cam Newton. He didn't have a good year. He hasn't had a good year since his 2015, 2016 MVP campaign. So I don't think Cam Newton's going to be any good in New England, and I think they need to get a new quarterback. I would have liked to see Jimmy Garoppolo in New England, but that's what I got for you today. Those 7 signings, and that was it. I really wanted to go over my March Madness picks, so I did that. And again, guys, I can't stress this enough. Go ahead and direct message me on my social medias. Even if you just want to do it for fun, you can play me one-on-one. And after you download the ESPN Tournament Challenge app, go ahead and do that. Fill out your bracket and play me one-on-one. And the offer ends by tonight. I need the brackets by tonight at midnight. Again, if you enjoyed this live stream and you want to see more just like it, go ahead and tune in to Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt every Wednesday on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. Also, tune into Landon Hammond's show, Fuel to the Fire, and John Mark Stiver's show, Crunch Time Sports Show. But for now, this has been Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt.